We've undertaken a survey. It's a network survey. We've spoken to more than 8,000 Muslim women across 25 states and union territories and asked them questions around the various aspects that could come under the Uniform Civil Code. An overwhelming number of women have responded that they would want to have the marriage age to be equal between 80 as 21 years. They would want an equal share in inheritance. They would want to have the ability or the right to remarry without any restrictions, largely in favor of a uniform civil code. Sir, your thoughts. Zaka Jacob is also with me. Please tell us what you think.
I've been listening to the survey for the last half an hour. I feel it has given a religious tone to the whole issue. That I think is very, very unfair. We should not, on this issue, we should not have a religious bias. You should be honest enough to admit that this is a mistake. Any change that comes about should have a unifying and not a divisive element in it. I think at the moment you are polarizing the whole issue, but that is not correct. Let me also tell you that change is a constant factor of life. What about countries like Turkey, Tunisia, Indonesia? They brought out certain changes. I feel that your survey was important, but please do not make it a religious issue.
Gen Shah, if I may ask you, let's leave religion aside. On a matter of principle, when it comes to, let's say, I'm just giving an example on inheritance to ancestral property, do you subscribe to the view that irrespective of whether you're a man or a woman, a son or a daughter, you should be entitled to equal share?
I believe in equity, but I am no religious authority to comment on it. What has happened, I spoke to some people on this issue, and they said that, well, they supported whatever is happening at the moment. They said that the wife gets a quarter of the property compared to the sons.
Yeah.
But the wife also gets from her own husband. So that equalizes the whole thing. Now, I am no authority, as I said, but we've got to study, we've got to know what is the architecture of the whole thing. I would say that the Uniform Civil Code should be renamed the National Civil Code. We don't want uniformity. Uniformity is okay for the armed forces. I mean, our strength is diversity, unity in diversity. And that's what I say. Give us the architecture of the code. Right. Everybody's speaking in the air. Give us the architecture, and then we'll be able to comment on it.
Ji. But General Saab, whether we say it's a national civil code or a common civil code, the idea is, the reason why we went and surveyed Muslim women is because largely the opposition has come from the AIM, PLB and the Muslim groups, even back when the Hindu laws were codified and the Christian laws were codified to a certain extent. It was the Muslim clergy that opposed it. That's the reason why. But do you believe that all communities should come back and subscribe to a national civil code? Because these codes affect all communities. And I subscribe and I agree with you there. Every caste, every community living in India will be affected when there is a national civil code.
Will you include the tribals?
Yes, sir. They are also being spoken to.
I'm asking you this question. Will you include the tribals?
Why shouldn't they be included?
The practices in the Northeast are totally different. Will you include them or exempt them? Please answer that question.
Well, when it comes to implementing a common civil code, it should be a common civil code pan-India. The contours of it will make the draft of the common civil code, which all of us are eagerly anticipating.
We need to know what is in the draft. We cannot, you see, what is happening is you are carrying out a survey on a national scale. So it'll be first past the post. Suppose 80% vote yes, change required, 20% no. No, I don't think any change must have a unifying factor. If it doesn't, I'm afraid it doesn't meet the purpose.
One of the questions we also asked General Shah, again, you're not a religious expert. None of us here in the studio are religious experts. But again, it comes back to a principle of equity. Islam does not recognize adoption. Islamic law does not recognize adoption. So if you have a childless couple, for example, who decide to adopt a child, then that child is not recognized as a legal heir. Don't you think that is something that can be and should be reformed?
Look, I have a foster mother. My mother's spinster sister brought me up. And I've got no problems with that. So this thing about, I cannot comment. I cannot comment on these religious issues. I'm a soldier. All I'm saying is that the unity of the country amongst all sections, including tribals and people of the Northeast, must be included. We are for an inclusive society, not an exclusive one.
Well, finally, just 30 seconds. But on principle, you do agree that if a personal law or a religious law is standing in the way of equity amongst all classes of citizens, then that needs to be amended or done away with.
We have to follow the example of countries, Islamic countries, which has adopted changes. Change is inevitable. Change has to come. It is one of the laws of life. Change is very much required. But examine what the Indonesia, the Turkey, Tunisia, Libya have done.
Yeah.
Do that. We need to, I stress again, give us the architecture first and then we'll be able to comment.
But why? But we are not an Islamic nation, General Shah. Thank you very, very much. We are a vibrant democracy and the constitution prevails. So yes, they should be seen. But the fact of the matter is, like you said, it should be a national code applicable to all. Why only examine Islamic nations? That's the bigger question.